Hello, and welcome back to the pricing channel for small businesses. Today we'll wrap up our three-part series on using market segmentation as a way to maximize our business profitability. Now that we have some tactical tools for segmenting markets, let's discuss how we fine-tune our pricing to further maximize that profitability. Once we have created two or more distinct market segments, we can look at how to maximize the revenue and the profitability within each distinct segment. We previously covered some of the basic ideas of maximizing price within a market segment back in video 5. And so today, we're going to take the next step and use the solver optimization engine in Excel spreadsheets to do that maximization work for us. So let's go right into our presentation to set up the problem and demonstrate how all this works.
In our previous two videos, we've demonstrated that market segmentation allows us to increase profitability in our business by selling our products and services into more than one market segment. Now that we've done that, we've segmented our market, we want to determine how we can maximize our revenue in each segment that we sell into so as to truly maximize our overall profitability. And so to illustrate how this process works, we'll look at some work we did for a client a couple of years ago who runs a kids' party house business and who ended up using a market segmentation process that was based on the days of the week. The kids' party house offers an indoor play space for birthday parties and similar events. They have a capacity just to throw 8 parties per day, and they charged a set price of $130 per party, which includes all the amenities. The direct cost for each party was $52. This covered labor and snacks and other essentials such as plates, napkins, straws, drinks, etc. And so each party yielded a profit contribution of $78 per party. When we started working with this business, we encouraged them to segment their business into weekend parties and weekday parties. And this is because for the weekends, they were fully booked. And in fact, they were turning away business. And for the weekdays, they struggled to average somewhere between 0 and 2 parties per day. And so this table shows what the demand versus capacity looks like for the business for the 7 days of the week with their original pricing policy. Now, this is an interesting case because on the weekends, demand exceeds capacity. And this is called a constrained capacity case because it's the capacity that we have which is constraining how many items we can sell, or in this case, how many parties we can throw. For the weekdays, we actually have no idea what the true demand is for parties. We only know what it is at a set price of $130 per party. And so overall, this data implies a willingness to pay that is higher on the weekends than the weekdays. And so we made the assumption that demand on Saturday and Sunday was not very price elastic. That is, raising the price or even lowering the price really wouldn't change the situation. Demand would continue to exceed capacity. On the other hand, we assumed that the pricing for Monday, or the willingness to pay on Monday to Friday, could be very elastic. That is, if we were willing to explore lower pricing, we might be able to generate higher demand on weekdays, given the capacity that we had that was unused in the current pricing scheme. So talking to the owners, we assigned a price elasticity of demand as equal to 2 for the weekend demand. That's not very elastic. And then we assigned a price elasticity of demand of 5 for the weekday demand, where the price elasticity of demand is equal to the percentage change in demand when price changes. Using the price elasticity equals 2 for the Saturday and Sunday customers, we developed a linear price versus demand curve using Microsoft Excel, where demand is equal to 36 minus 0.1846 times price, a very classical linear equation for demand versus price. Now, using the solver optimization function, which is contained within Excel with a capacity constraint of 8, we were able to calculate an optimum price of $150 per party to maximize the revenue and the contribution for weekend days parties. Here we have plotted the demand versus price that we get from the linear equation that we developed. And it shows the interesting relationship between unconstrained capacity and constrained capacity. When there's a demand of 12 parties competing for only 8 party spots, this causes the price per party to be higher than if capacity was not a problem. And so if capacity was not a problem, then the maximum price for a party could be $124. But due to the capacity constraint of the business, where it was constrained to 8 parties per day, the maximum price is instead $150 per party. Now, determining the price for weekday parties that maximizes profitability presented us with a little bit of a different issue. Unlike the weekend demand, we really don't know what the true demand for weekday parties is. All we really know is that the demand varies between 0 and 2 when the price is set at $130 per party. So one way to treat this situation is to use a different kind of demand versus price function. And so we arbitrarily set the demand at 2 parties per day when the price point was $130 per party. And as we mentioned earlier, we assumed a price elasticity of demand equal to 5. Using these pieces of information, we could then develop what's called a power demand curve for demand versus price. And we could calculate this from the Excel solver optimization engine. And in this case, demand is equal to a constant called A times price taken to the power of the negative elasticity, where we earlier said the elasticity was 5. And from the Excel solver engine, we calculated A as being 7.43 to the 10th power. Using that equation, we can determine the party demand during the weekdays at several different price points. And this information is summarized in the table below. And looking at the different price points and the different demand that would be calculated from those price points, we can see that at $100 per party, the demand, which is calculated to be 7, is just about at our daily capacity of 8 parties. And at this price, each party would deliver a profit contribution of $48 per party. And so we chose $100 as the price point for weekday parties. Now, summarizing what we can develop using the segmented case versus the unsegmented case, we can see that for the unsegmented operations, which is what the kids' party house was running before we started working with them, they would average about 25 parties per week for a total profit contribution of $1,950 for those 25 parties at $130 per party. In the segmented case, the weekend price of $150 yields a profit contribution of $1,248 for the 16 parties that the kids' party house could run on a Saturday and a Sunday. Similarly, using the $100 price for the weekdays, the profit contribution for the 25 parties that we could run on those 5 weekdays would yield a profit contribution of $1,680. And so we can see that running the segmented pricing for weekends and weekdays yields a profit contribution of $2,928 for a total of 41 parties that are run. This $2,928 in the segmented case is essentially 50% higher than the unsegmented case profitability. So weekend party sales yield a total contribution of $1,248 with a constraint of 8 parties per day. Without that constraint, the total contribution yield would actually be $1,728 at the optimum price of $124 per party and 12 parties per day, which we considered to be the baseline demand for weekend parties. The difference in contribution between the two cases, unconstrained and constrained, is $480 for the weekend. This loss of $480 in contribution due to the constrained capacity is often called the opportunity cost for not having enough capacity to service the true party demand. And so an opportunity cost is the benefit that we miss out on because of a particular operating choice we have made. Opportunity cost is a concept that comes up many times in business decisions.
As you can see, the Kids Party House found a really neat segmentation scheme for their business. One segment consisted of weekend parties, which were in great demand, and the second segment was weekday parties that needed a price incentive in order to stimulate demand. This segmentation scheme works because the people who prefer weekend parties were willing to pay more for that particular time slot. And people looking for bargain party rates were willing to settle for a weekday party slot to get a lower price. And so this segmented pricing gives everybody what they want. And of course, for the business, the big bonus for them was the ability to boost their weekly profitability by 50%. Now, the calculation schemes we used here were beyond the scope of this video to explain in detail. But feel free to contact us through our website if you would like to explore this topic further for your particular business. And as always, Please remember to hit that subscribe button down there so that you don't miss a single video. And for sure, I look forward to seeing you again.